Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk about grammar. Well, I know many of you guys out there, you wonder what kind of grammatical points, what range do I need to know in order to cover my exams like TOEFL or IELTS. Okay, today our discussion is going to be just about those grammatical points, that you need just enough to cover these kinds of exams. Okay, because I always, get this question like, what kind of books, what exactly, grammatical points should I cover in order to get the handle of the writing part, the speaking part. I don't know, these kind of things that I need to know in order to pass the IELTS or TOEFL and get an acceptable score. Okay, so what kind of grammars do we actually need? So you don't need to get a long book or thick book in order to cover it all. So today I'm going to introduce you some categories that if you learn this, I promise you're going to get a satisfactory result. Okay, so let's jump right into it. The first part that I want to talk about is parts of speech. Okay, you have to really cover this. Okay, you have to know exactly what parts are considered what. Okay, what word is what. So like, we have different kinds of nouns, or let's say words in English. Some of them are considered as nouns. Some of them are considered as pronouns. Some of them are adjectives, and some of them are verbs. Some of them are prepositions and interjections and adverbs. Okay. Along with this, there are other categories that I just told you. Approximately around 8 kinds of parts of speech. Okay. So when you talk about something or when you want to write about something, you should exactly know what actually you're talking about or what actually you're writing about. Okay. Right. For example, a sentence like, I go home. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, we have I, which is considered as a pronoun. So when we're asked like, okay, what's the category of this I, what part of speech it is, so we got to say it's pronoun. Okay, yeah, I know it's subject at the end, at the beginning of the sentence, but the part of speech here for I is pronoun. So what about go? It's considered verb. And what about home? It's the noun. Okay, so you have to really know these parts of sentences. Okay, let's move on to the next part that we need to cover for exams like IELTS. Okay, and what you really need to learn related to grammar is the passive voice. Okay, passive voice. So what it is, it doesn't tell who is doing what. Okay, who is doing the action exactly. So a sentence like, I gave him a book. So we don't need, in passive voice, we actually omit the doer. So, and the object comes to the beginning of the sentence. So we get the sentence like, he was given, okay, a book. So here we have passive voice. So you need to know this kind of passive sentences. So you got to learn about a passive sentence for present continuous, present perfect, simple present, I don't know, these kinds of, tenses. So make sure you learn all these passive voices. Okay. Okay, I have written some examples for you. So I want to just practice passive voice with you a little bit. So I've written some, sentences here as an example. The first one is simple present. Okay, the second one, the first one, simple present, and the second one is simple past, and the third one is present continuous, and the last one is present past continuous, okay? So, but as you say, see, they're all in active form, okay? So we know he's doing what, and we know about the doer, okay? These people. So we want to make these sentences passive. So in the first sentence, the formula is to be plus pp, form of the past participle of the verb. So the first one becomes the home is cleaned, okay, and the second one becomes the car was bought, and the third one becomes a house is, and here we need an extra being plus the third form of the verb. So the third one becomes a house is being built, and the last one, past continuous, past continuous form, it becomes something was being made. Something was being made. Okay, so these were just a couple of examples, but make sure you learn this passive voice when you want to write in IELTS. You want to write in exams like TOEFL. They really come in handy, and they increase, they ameliorate, improve your score, and they make a kind of a high caliber kind of writing. Okay, next category that you really need to know for preparing yourself for exams like IELTS, you really need to have a good understanding of the collocations, okay? So what collocation is, it means specific words come with specific words, okay? Like, for example, when you want to say, like, okay, fast car. So with a car that is moving like fast, we normally say fast car, okay? Or we normally say fast food. So what about, if we just replaced fast with quick? Can we say quick car? It's a quick car. Or can we say it's a quick food? Well, and here the collocation comes to play a role, and it says no, okay, because normally what English people use with some specific words, limit us from using just whatever word that comes in our mind, okay, with specific words. So here we're like quick food, we normally don't say that, okay? So these kinds of collocations, the words coming together, is not considered appropriate, okay? But like we can say, a collocation like a quick question, okay? Can I make a quick question? Okay. And here, it's not normal to say, can I ask like a fast question? Okay, no, it's not kind of normal. So here we can use quick with question, okay? So this is called collocation. Okay, let's continue our speech about the what? Okay, in the next part, I have written down some really useful, formulas. We can say, I don't know, the collocations that words can come together. Okay, the first one, as I say, it's a noun plus noun. Okay, this is one form of collocation. An example for that can be ceasefire agreement. Okay, ceasefire is noun, and agreement is noun too. Okay, so here noun comes with noun. Okay. And the second one type of collocation is noun plus verb, like plane took off. Plane is noun and the took off is the verb. Or business went broke. Business is the noun part, and went broke, it failed, it means it failed, is the verb part, okay? Verb plus noun, making my bed, do laundry. Verb plus adverb, remember, verb, vaguely. Vaguely means not clearly, okay? You remember something but not very clearly. And the fifth type is, adverb plus adjective, like utterly stupid, okay? Yes, you can say completely stupid, but collocation says, or in writings, or I don't know, in speakings, right? When you want to speak at exams like TOEFL or IELTS, this kind of using words like collocations brings you more score, okay? So like utterly stupid or fully aware, okay? I'm fully aware of this topic. It means I know it completely. And the sixth one is adjective plus noun, like the usual, the famous type, slow car, or as we said earlier, fast car, fast food, okay? And the last one is prepositional phrases, okay? Like under, under starts with a preposition, okay? Under pressure. We don't say below pressure or down pressure, stuff like that, okay? We say under pressure. So these are 7 types of very, mostly used types of collocations. You really need to enhance your understanding of this kind of collocations that were, because when you're using them in your speech or writing, believe me, your score and your chance of getting a higher score will improve a lot, okay? Okay, we move on to the next category and topic. I really need to tell you about the structure of the sentence, okay? So, if you know the different parts of sentence, you're going to be dominant. The way you on sentences you write or on sentences that come out of your mouth, okay? For example, we know that the sentence has mainly 3 parts. It has a subject, and it has a verb, and it has an object, okay? For example, he buys a car, okay? So here we have subject, we have verb, and then object. So why do we need to know the different parts of sentence? And why do we need to know what is what, okay? Why do we need to know the different types of sentence? Because when you want to write something about, I don't know, any topic, or when you want to prepare a speech for something, okay, you really need to prepare something that is like, more than simple, okay? Because it's when you just, go on and like use just all simple sentences in your speech or writing, you're gonna sound like, I don't know, A2, B1, like this, and the chance of you getting high score will come down, drastically. So if you know that this type of sentence that you are using is kind of just simple sentence, so you can avoid it, okay? So sentences like, for example, this one, or how are you, or I'm doing fine, I'm doing great, or I'm going out. These are all simple, types of sentence, simple type of sentences, because they just contain just one verb, okay? Mostly we try to at least use compound or mostly use the complex sentences that I will talk about them in the next part. Okay, so as I told you, another type for kinds of sentences. The first one was simple one. The second type is compound sentences. Okay, so what compound sentences, as the name says and shows, it consists of 2 parts. In the beginning, we have a word, and the second sentence, okay? What makes a compound sentence is exactly like, the first part of the sentence and the second part, they are independent, okay? For example, I go to school and like, let's say he stays at home, okay? So, if we remove this part and part, okay? So, what do you get? 2 sentences with the independent meaning, okay? So, I go to school, One sentence, it has its own meaning, it's complete, and he stays at home. It's again a complete sentence. But what here we do, we add another just word in between. Okay, so this whole sentence is compound. So why I'm telling you about these types of sentences, as I told you earlier, because if you know that this sentence you're writing or saying is considered compound, so it will increase your score. Okay, so you don't have to just stick yourself to simple sentences. By knowing these types of sentences, you can really enhance your odds. So what here, the words that help us to make compound sentences, we call them fanboys. Okay, fanboys. F stands for, A stands for and, N, nor, B, but, O, R, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, and S stands for so. So these are fanboys. This is an easy way to memorize these words. Okay, so whenever you're using or you're trying to use these words and connect to sentences, it means you're making a compound sentence, and it is higher than just simple sentence. So why you don't want to use all just simple sentence? Because you want to show that your level is higher. Okay, I mean you can show that your demand of that language is higher, so you're going to get higher score. Okay, so let's move on to the let's say third type of sentence. And this third type of sentence is called complex sentences. Complex sentences. Okay, so as the name implies, here we are dealing with complex sentence. Okay, we have other types of sentences like complex, compound, but I don't want to just bewilder you. I don't want to baffle you. I don't want to confuse you with those types. If you just know these differences, these types of sentences, number one, simple, compound, and complex one, so you're good to go. Okay, don't worry. But make sure you use a lot of this type. Okay, this type shows your level is really high. Okay, this shows your understanding and your demand of that language is really admirable. Okay, so in this type of sentence, we have the first part or second part, I don't know. One part of sentence is dependent. It means it can't stand alone. And the other one is independent. It can't stand alone. Okay, so here again we need some words to make us these kinds of complex sentences. Okay, so what words here we need to bring get attached sentences to make complex sentences? They're all famous words. I'm sure you know quite lots of them. Words like although, you name it. Words like though, words like however, words like because, I don't know, as, since, and you name it. Okay, there are lots of these words. This list is a long one. So now you know that. What are these words? Now, after watching this video, you know that these words are called subordinating. Subordinating what? Conjunctions. Okay? What these words do, they subordinate. It means they make one part of sentence depend on another part of sentence. Okay? So next time, you know that when you are using these types of connectors, the words that connect two parts, when you are using this kind of connectors, okay, to connect two parts of sentence, you're actually making a complex sentence, and well, it's a good improve for you. And yes, congratulations. Okay, as you see, I've written two examples for you. Although, and in spite of the fact that. Okay, so what are these words? As I told you earlier, they're called subordinating. Okay. Words, subordinating conjunctions. And if here you pay attention, the second part are independent, but the first ones that attach to these words, the part that attached to these words, they're called dependent. Okay, so these are examples of complex sentences, and make sure you use a lot of these words. Okay, just instead of going on and in a routine and monotonous word, type of sentences, that you just stick to simple sentences. Make sure you use a lot of these words. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I hope you practice. And I just recommend at the end of the video that you go and find a lot of those collocations. Just practice learning all those passive voices and pay attention to these types of sentences, and be aware what you're writing about, what kind of sentences you're writing, and it will help you a lot to increase your score. Okay, thank you and goodbye.